So one of the advantages of using coolant is that it reduces fuel consumption. But of course, it's not just fuel consumption. If you've been following me on my videos, you know that I always say it also elongates your engine lifespan. Not just keeping your engine cooling system as clean as possible and as long as possible. No, but it also helps your engine to stay much longer. So I'm going to give you guys testimony from a client of mine that used this coolant, and I also have that kind of experience. In fact, I experienced it before even he also came back to me with feedback. So prior to using this coolant, he had water in the system. So what happened was he replaced the engine and ran the engine with water for a while. So what happened was he contacted me that he observed that once it's on high speed, probably 100 kilometers per hour or so, what tends to happen is the temperature gauge will start dropping, even though the car, which I believed at the time had thermostat, the engine cooling system thermostat was still intact, and the fan was still factory. So it's still factory anyway. So yet it will start dropping. But when he reduces speed and probably get to a stop, driving slowly, maybe inside the city, the temperature gauge maintain 90 degrees Celsius. So what I told him was few things can cause it. Number one, if you change your radiator and put a bigger size radiator, it tends to happen. If your radiator is supposed to have a smaller, if your engine is meant to run with a smaller radiator compared to same vehicle with a bigger engine or a more powerful engine, in that case, if you use a big radiator that is meant for such bigger ones, then your temperature gauge may behave that way. Your engine temperature will behave that way as your vehicle speed start climbing, especially when the ambient temperature is cooler or is colder than normal hot afternoon. That's one of the causes. Second one is, of course, if your thermostat is absent from the engine, which I told him, hey, I wasn't the one that changed the engine for him. So it's probably where they replaced the engine, it was tampered, So, which could be one of the reasons. And of course, he confirmed to me the fan was still working as factory. So I told him, yeah. So he has to now check, look at these two things actually. No, not two. In fact, the third one is water. Yeah, I remember water. So if you have a water in your system, what tends to happen is the coolant warms up faster and stays hotter. So meaning that even when you are on a higher speed, your engine will maintain that hotness. Unlike water, sometimes instead of it to maintain that normal temperature or degrees Celsius, it will start going down. So I told him that it helps the coolant. That's one of the advantages of using coolant. Your engine will warm up faster. It takes water. If you put only water in your engine cooling system, it takes it much longer to warm up. Your temperature gauge to get up and stop at 90 degrees Celsius. Let's assume every other thing in your engine cooling system is still intact. It will take it much longer to get to that 90 degrees Celsius or your fan to come up than with coolant. Coolant warms up much faster. So I told him, okay, maybe the first thing to start is to introduce coolant in your system, or at least test the thermostat. Now he now got this coolant, so let me show you. Even though you tested the thermostat and it showed sign that it was absent, but I decided to start with the coolant first. So you can see, I remember I've done a video concerning this. So you can get this at Total filling station here in Abuja. I don't know about the other Total station outside Abuja. This is available. Yeah, it's still that green colored. Anyway, but probably the content have changed. Okay, so all I did was introduce coolant in his engine, and after I did that replacement of water with coolant, I took the car for a drive for the first time. After that, myself drove the car, push it harder for quite a while. The temperature remained at 90 degrees Celsius. It didn't go lower than that. The next day, of course, he took the car, asked him, observe, the same thing happened. It didn't go lower. So what does that tell you? Even though the thermostat, recall, I mentioned when I did the test, I realized that the thermostat appears has been removed. Because it's an EPC engine, so the easiest way to confirm is to remove it completely and then physically inspect. However, at least this one was able to cure that symptom. So with or without thermostat, it stopped going down. That was the only thing we did on the cooling system, by draining the water, introducing this cooler, which is pre-mixed. You don't need to add any other water. Yet, immediately it solved the problem. So now you understand what I've been preaching. And how does this help to reduce fuel consumption? Because at that time, the temperature will always come down while on high speed. The fuel consumption will start going higher. Because the lower the coolant temperature, or the lower your coolant temperature gauge on your instrument panel stays, or the lower it drops, the higher the fuel consumption. So what it does is, it doesn't matter how good your engine cooling system is, your engine is, your injection system is. Once your temperature gauge starts dropping down, trust me, you are burning more fuel than you should at that time. Once your temperature stays less than 80 degrees Celsius, you are burning more fuel. So that is one. Now, how does it elongate engine lifespan? By keeping your engine oil as hot as possible and remain hot as long as possible. So that time it was also dropping down. Also, what it does then is your oil temperature will also start reducing. The temperature will no longer, even if it doesn't reduce, it won't be as hot as it's supposed to be. Remember, the oil protects your engine better when it's hot than when it's cold. If you start a cold engine and start revving it high on your high speed, it will grind your engine bearings or your crankshaft or your camshaft. Definitely will damage your engine. So, but this helps to keep the oil, your engine oil, including your coolant, if you drive automatic transmission. This will also help your automatic transmission ATM to stay hot, to protect your engine. The gearbox I meant. So this does a lot of things, not just by preventing rust in your system and every other thing. It keeps your fuel consumption lower. It helps your engine to last longer, since your engine oil temperature will stay hot as much as possible and as long as possible. Likewise for automatic transmission. So that's all I'm trying to explain. So I experienced this firsthand, and he also giving me a feedback that so far it hasn't gone down. However, he has also decided he was going to change the thermostat. But even without, like I said, the thermostat, it shows symptoms when I did the test that it has been removed. But without the thermostat, if he even fixed the symptom that he started to try to fix, when we now found out that even though he has only water in the system, the thermostat also has been removed without his consent. Until at least we confirm, we have to remove it to confirm. Like I said, it's an EPC engine, so it's not like every other system that you can remove only the hose and look inside. No, this one I have to pull it out completely and look behind it to see if the thermostat is intact. So do yourself a favor, get a coolant. So now let me explain. It's not only this coolant that can warm up faster. I will tell you there are some coolant I've used in the past. They actually didn't warm up as I was expecting. They took longer than they should for the oil temperature gauge to get up. They were behaving just like water, even though they were actually coolant. So I don't know, maybe it has to do with quality or whatever. But this one at least has proven that it works as good as I wanted. So yes, in this case I will recommend it. However, I just started using it, at least not on my own car yet, or in that person's vehicle. At least on that part of the function of the coolant, it has been able to prove itself right. So it's remaining now to prove how long will it last. Here it says change every 2 years, which is also Peugeot recommendation. Every 2 years, change it. But total here in Abuja, they sells it 1 liter, 2 liters. No, 1 liter container and the 4 liter container. This one is 4 liters. So you can check the market to know, or check total stations to know the ones that are available around your place. I don't know for those outside Abuja. I'm just saying what I know, the ones I've seen here. Those outside Nigeria, in Europe, maybe you have other total coolants different from this one. There are various products when it comes to total coolant. There are also other coolants aside total, probably even better than total coolant. So it's up to you to know the one that works for you. But the most important thing, get coolant in your engine. Trust me, it's better for you. No matter, even if it's an old engine or newer engine, get coolant. Older engines, well, I mean classic vintage cars, some of them, they actually recommended only green coolant. Don't put any other colored coolant. The green ones are much better in terms of I think there's something in them that helps works better with the older engine, which this can also be used on modern engine, but like I said, green ones are more preferable for such ones. So anyway, do your more research. I might not be right in everything, but do more research to know more about coolant. But I'm telling you, I've been using coolant for many years. My own cars, other people's vehicles, and I can tell you, you are better off with coolant. Alright, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.